Howdy folks, I'm Matthew Street and welcome to my channel. So happy you're here. Hey, when you were younger, like a kid or a preteen or a young teenager, did you ever want to look like the Beatles? Did you ever want to become one of the Beatles? Did you ever have a fantasy of dressing like the Beatles or having a Beatles haircut or wearing Beatles boots or suits? Did you ever have that, or am I the only crazy nut on the planet? Okay, because I kind of did. When I was a kid, when I became a fan of the Beatles, I wanted to become a Beatle. I wanted to look like them. I thought they were the coolest looking cats going, and I really wanted to be like them. And I remember having this book. Who remembers this book way back in mid-70s, 1976 or so, Growing Up with the Beatles. And it was by this great author called Ron Schomburg. Ron Schomburg wrote this very famous and well-known Beatles book. And one of the things he said that struck me, among many things, it's a great book, folks, if you can ever get a hold of it. Great, great fun read about his years as a young boy growing up in the 60s. He was a real older first-generation fan. And one of the things he mentioned is how he wanted to look like the Beatles, be like the Beatles. And he said he went down to his barbershop with a copy of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. He opened up the gatefold, and he told the barber, when the barber was about to give him a haircut, hey, I want to look like this. I want my hair to look like Ringo Starr's in this picture. Ron really wanted this hairdo. That's what he wanted. And he jokes in the book how he's showing the barber that picture, and this is what I want. I want to look like Ringo in this picture. He ended up, when he left, he had a whiffle. The guy gave him a crew cut or something. He didn't care, probably smoking while he was cutting his hair, Yeah, kid, whatever. And there were no stylists back then for young boys. So he ended up with a real buzz cut and left there all disappointed and bummed out. And I had to laugh, folks, when I read that. And to this day it makes me smile, because when I was a young kid, young teenager, I did the same exact thing, folks. Okay? I had this album here, Beatles 6. Grab your Beatles 6 album, folks. Look closely at those four guys on there. And I thought that John Lennon's haircut on the cover of Beatles 6 was the coolest haircut on the planet. Check it out. I wanted that haircut. Right here. I wanted it so bad that I kind of ended up getting it. Here's my 8th grade picture. So I don't know how close I came, folks, but when I was 13, there's John. I don't know, what do you think? That's me at age 13, and there's John. I wanted that haircut, and I think I came close. I just thought it was the greatest thing, folks, to look like a Beatle and have Beatle haircut. So when I was 13, that was one thing, but even the year before, when I was in 7th grade, here's a picture of me in 7th grade, and I had the Beatle haircut going. That's more of a 65 Beatles do there, all right? And then in my 6th grade picture, as you can see, I'm like age 11 here. I'm really going for the 64 look, 1964 Beatles. What do you think? And even as far back in 5th grade, okay, I was going for more of a late 63 Beatles haircut thing there. But I just always thought it was the funniest thing in my 8th grade year how I wanted to have my hair like John on Beatles 6. It just, you wanted it. You had to have it. The problem was, folks, having that haircut was okay. You could get away with that haircut in the early to mid-70s, Kids had longer hair and stuff. But the clothing styles had changed. When I'm going into my freshman year of high school now in 1975, 1976, what was the style? It wasn't black turtlenecks. It wasn't collarless jackets and straight-legged stovepipe pants and pointy-toed Beatle boots with Cuban heels. No, it was like plaid-colored polyester bell-bottoms or flared pants, two-tone platform shoes with the round toes, and and who remembers that? And real loud, wide ties with all kinds of colors on them and stuff. The 70s styles were totally different than what the Beatles were wearing in 64, 65, 66. It just totally changed. And I craved black Cuban-heeled Beatles boots. But, back in 1975 or so, you weren't finding any black, Cuban-heeled, pointed Beatles boots in your local Tom McCann store. It just wasn't going to happen. However, I have a memory of finding, do you remember those black ankle boots that were popular in the mid-70s? They were like, you could get them in black. They had a rounded toe. There was no seam down the middle, but they had a rounded toe and a zippered side. The inside of the boot zipped. And they had usually a flat heel. Do you remember those in the mid-70s? Okay, so I found a pair of those. Or, you know, I'm in the store with my mom and we found a pair of those. And to me at the time, they were close enough. I'm going to get them. They're like the Beatle boots. However, me and my infinite wisdom said, I got to make these more like the Beatles boots. So what am I going to do? So I begged my mom. I begged her, Mom, please take these to the cobbler. And I showed her a picture of real Beatles boots with the Cuban heels. I said, can you take these to the cobbler and make them like the Beatles and put the Cuban heels on them? And I remember when she got them there to the cobbler said to her, well, you know, it's going to be kind of hard to do. You know, these boots are a little more with a flatter heel and they don't have the good, you know, arch to get that height with a Cuban heel and all. He says, but I'll try, I'll give it a shot. And he did. He got it done. He put Cuban heels, bless my mother's heart. She had the cobbler put nice Cuban heels on these 70s black zip boots. And you know what? They looked pretty darn good, folks. They weren't bad. They looked great. But the problem was when you wore these things with, you know, double knit polyester bell-bottom plaid pants and a white belt and a wide 70s tie, you know, your typical 70s clothing in those days, they didn't look too good. You know what I mean? But I didn't care. I'm going to school with my plaid, you know, bell-bottom pants with my black zip boots with now Cuban heels. Well, let me say it was a little bit of a sight. You know what? But I didn't care. I wanted my Beatles boots. I wanted to do my Beatles look, and I did it, and I didn't care. And eventually, folks, I did get myself some kind of official Beatle boots. I've ordered these from a company in England. These actually come from Liverpool, a company called Beatware, which you can go check them out. I believe they're still in business. Beatware, Beatwear. Check them out. They're based out of Liverpool, and you can get some nice boots like this, different styles. You can get a higher Cuban heel if you want. I got the lower one, but it comes with the seam in the middle, the pointed toe, nice leather uppers with the elastic gusset here for stretching to get your foot in. Got the pull tabs, really nice with the red interior, just like the Beatles. Sounds like I'm selling a car, right? Beatle boots, yeah, with the red interior and leather seats and just rich Corinthian leather. Who remembers that commercial? Anyway, so I got my Beatles boots. I've only worn them a handful of times. I think I let my son wear them a couple of times. So I've got my little official, semi-official pair of Beatles boots, and I recommend all of you get some Beatles boots. Gotta do it. Come on, folks. It's 2020. You know, get some Beatles boots, will you? Anyway, so what happened eventually? Well, as we come into the late 70s, yes, straight-legged pants did come back in style. You know, kids were wearing a lot of straight-legged Levi corduroys back in those days, and the Sperry topsiders were the rage, and, you know, hairdos were going from longer hair to getting the feathered back look. You know, a little kind of a cooler feathered back haircut. That was the rage, you know. So eventually styles come around again, and skinnier ties came back in, the knit ties with the flat bottom and all that stuff. So, you know, it kind of came around again to the Beatle look. I think so. And to this day, you can wear a lot of cool stuff that kind of looks like the Beatles and get away with it, and it just fits right in with the times. But, you know, every time I see this album, I see the old Beatles 6 album, and I think back to when I was a young teenager, 12, 13 years old. It makes me smile because I think of those times, those days when I wanted to be like a Beatle. You know, here I am there's John and me. All right, I think of those days, and it makes me happy. You know what? And I did my best and tried my hardest to look like a Beatle, and I'm pretty proud of that. That despite what the current trends were at the time in the mid-70s, I did my best to throw on my black turtleneck once in a while, my altered 70s boots, zip boots into Beatles boots, and tried to get away with looking like a Beatle whenever I could. So love to hear some of your stories of some crazy, outrageous things you did to try to look like a Beatle or be like a Beatle. Love to hear it. So that's it, folks. Thought I'd talk about becoming a Beatle, trying to be a Beatle and look like a Beatle. What do you say? Give me some comments. Let me know what you think. Bless you all. Take care. Bye-bye.